In my country, I say bem-vinda. It's Portuguese. What about in your country? How do you say it?
Добро пожаловать. So I always can say Calimera, Tekanis. You can respond even to me.
Yes, Miaharai, goime Miaharai, si,
Hola,
Tekanis.
Kala. When we fully decided to relocate here, we made a sort of a plan that we definitely need to build the ecosystem here for ourselves, for our company. We started to search for the office, for the buildings to live, residential buildings with flats, to make it as comfort as it possible to all people who will move here. And even to think about the free time, like hobbies, what you can do when you're not working. But still, it was a great advantage to come here with the whole team. Today, Limassol, Cyprus is the home. So yes, I'm already always wherever I go, I know that the home is here, and this is the place where I'm attached. A person can be 0.8, a person can be 1, and a person can be 1.2. So if you hire someone who is 0.8, it's just a person maybe who almost does his work okay. You just sometimes need to fix something or help to do something. 1 is something that a person always does what is expected, and 1.2 is something that you always get a bit more. So I believe that for startup, it's very important to find those people who are 1.2.
People, stories, social issues, environment, sports, arts and culture, life, urban issues, innovation. This is the L-Air Uncut.
Welcome to Limassol Ambassadors, the podcast series of L-Air Uncut channel, where we talk about diversity. But more specifically, we talk about how positive diversity can be in any urban society. Because we are in Limassol, we are going to focus, obviously, on what has been done and what can be done with diversity to build a better Limassol in the future. And because diversity, wherever you go, it's all about people. It is very important for all of us internationals living in Limassol to understand who are the other internationals. So we do that here with real stories and very real people right here in front of us. So today I have with me Diana. Welcome, Diana.
Thank you for inviting.
It's a pleasure. So in my country, I say bem-vinda. It's Portuguese. What about in your country? How do you say it?
Добро пожаловать.
Oh, wow. That sounds beautiful. Okay, but because we are in Limassol, so our common language here is going to be English. So welcome. And I am very, very happy to have such a young entrepreneur here talking to us today, because I think it's a very interesting story to share with all our viewers and listeners. So, Diana, first of all, do you feel Limassol as your home now? At what stage are you? You kind of building it, or you already feel like a Limassolian? Tell us how you feel.
So I think I came here around 2 or 3 years ago. So we came on the 1st of April for the first time with a thought to relocate the company where I was working previously. And it was the first day after the COVID open doors. So we were planning to come to Cyprus. We were already almost ready to relocate the whole team. And since then, year after year, I was making myself, I was ensuring that this was the right choice. And now I can honestly tell that it was the best choice back then. And today, Limassol, Cyprus is the home. So yes, I'm already always wherever I go, I know that the home is here, and this is the place where I'm attached. And so it's already became the place where I always want to come back.
Very nice. Well, 3 years is quite fast, I have to say. I mean, I've been here for more than 30 years, but my first 10 years, they were not easy. So the fact that you already felt that this is your home in 3 years is a very, very good, let's say, result. And most probably also result of your strategy. Did you have some sort of techniques how to integrate faster? Because I think now young people, they are more, let's say, aware of what can be done, and technology helps. Tell us a little bit, how was your strategy to become a local, well, sort of local?
Actually, I think it based a bit on the experience. I was born in Siberia, so by the age of 18, I already left my first home to go to study in St. Petersburg. Then during the St. Petersburg studies, I also had two exchanges living actually in Lisbon, here in Nova School of Business
Nova,
year.
oh
So it
wow,
was half
that's
of my
good.
year I've spent there, and in Geneva as well. So it was. Several times I already changed my places of where I spend a lot of time, so I needed to adapt, and it was always difficult. It has never been easy to become a migrant again. Basically, you need to build all the social rounds around you from scratch, knowing no one. And I think when we decided to go to Limassol, I was already sort of prepared to the fact that it will not be easy, and you should not think about the migration as a tourist. Basically, you know this phrase like don't mix up tourism and immigrant, like
Immigration, yes.
immigration. So it's totally different things. And when we fully decided to relocate here, we made a sort of a plan that we definitely need to build the ecosystem here for ourselves, for our company. We even when we came for the first time, as I told you in April, we started to search for the office, for the buildings to live. Residential buildings with flats, to make it as comfort as it possible to all people who will move here. And even to think about the free time, like hobbies, what you can do to when you're not working. But still, it was a great advantage to come here with the whole team. It wasn't, we were around like, for the first wave, it was around like 10 people with their families or like boyfriends, girlfriends. Then 10 more people came with their families. So we had this chat of people, more than 35 people who came almost simultaneously. They all had the same problems, fears, and desires. So it was much easier to adapt for the first 2-3 months than when you come alone, of course, because you always at least have someone to go to the sea, to have a walk, to go to the hiking. So it wasn't, you never have been alone. But then you always have the second part, I think, for anyone who come here. Most of the migrants, they actually stick together, and I think this is the most difficult part, is to go out of your circles and start to find new friends, start to find new connections. And I would say that for me it was a bit easier than for some other teammates, because my role in the company was the one that usually goes for the meetings to meet, I don't know, local lawyers, accountants, even, I don't know, real estate agents. Like I was the one who goes out to deal with the business. And if you're just a developer, usually you sit in the office and communicate only with your friends and colleagues, and you just don't find the reason to go out. I mean, to the new place, to have, and in some cases, I think from what I see from other companies, if company cover all your processes to apply for the visa, as most of the companies they do this, you even don't need to go to these administrative processes, like everything is done for you, and it limits your necessity to communicate, which is good to not have stress about this, but at the same time you are quite close.
You live in a bubble, basically.
Yeah, it's like a bubble of people from your company or from your family. And one of the also super big group of people who usually suffer the most is actually the families of relocated people. Yeah, like spouses and children. Actually, when you have children, it's easier because of the children, they start to communicate with other families. But if you're just a spouse without a child, usually you're the most isolated. And after like a few, I don't know, months or years of relocating people to Cyprus, even after I started my own company, I understood that the spouse is very important. And when you relocate another family, you really need to think how to bring the joy to the spouse as well, because this is quite strategic asset. It is the mood and the
it's the balance basically of life, because we cannot have only good conditions at work, because if at home things are not going on well, of course the balance life work, it doesn't happen, and of course you start having also problems with productivity at work as well. So everything is connected. What you've described there in a very, very detailed manner, thank you very much for doing so. It's in fact the whole process of what today the digital nomads have to deal with in many parts of the world. In your case, you had a phenomenon that doesn't always happen this way, which is the fact that the companies, they move by waves. So you're talking about, you said the first wave was 10, second wave bigger, third wave bigger. So this is a new phenomenon that nowadays we see, especially with tech companies, because you don't need to bring a factory, you don't need to bring any sort of equipment. It's basically people and computers, correct? How do you feel this at long term? Because what you've described there is very, very correct. The fact that at first, let's say maybe the first year or so, being in that bubble and being with your own people, it helps a lot. You feel that you're not alone. Your colleagues become family, right? I mean, at the end, the families...
we were even joking that basically we were living and working together like a monastery.
Right, okay. Very, very correct. Yeah, it's a proper monastery structure if you think about it. But at long term, you are going to develop that element as well. I think it's very important to tell our audience how, let's say, the most important steps that people should take so that you get out of that first, let's say, stage bubble. So how to get out of the bubble is first question. And then second question is the risks. What are the risks if you don't come out of that bubble eventually at long term? How do you see this?
So I think answering the first question, quite recently I fully realized that this is one of the main way to go out of this bubble is, a lot of migrants, they suffer from emotional separation, I don't know, like that they're alone, and they start to spend money on psychology classes or something. It can be beneficial, but if you ask me, what I would advise is to change these classes to the learning local language classes. Basically, when you start learning the language of the country you move to, this is the greatest shift the greatest shift happens, because first of all you start to understand, you actually start to not to penetrate, how to say, like to merge with the local culture, with local traditions, because usually all the classes, they are not only about the language, they always tell you the etymology, the history about something, how it became this word or this phrase, why it's so common, or I don't know. So usually it's always all together, and they even tell you to watch some maybe movies, local movies, to listen same language songs, so you actually start to merge better, and you start to understand the mentality, which is also quite a challenge for people from different countries to combine their mentalities. If you ask anyone who just came here, they will always tell you either Cypriots are very slow, or they're very, always late or something. So, but if you ask a person who lived let's say I don't know, you
Yes,
lived
me,
for a while,
yeah.
you might think already that this is a vibe of the life, of being free, of being
Relaxed, I would say. They are
yeah.
very relaxed.
Yeah, relaxed. And it's not bad. It just, you need to bring it in efficient way. Like, laziness is not good. It's not about the speed, it's about the effort. So you just need to understand that people here, sometimes they're just less stressed about something, and they're ready to wait. So, and I would say that one of the main strategy to go out of the bubble is to start learning. If you're talking about Cyprus, start learning Greek. Those classes usually bring you new people. It still can be migrants, because only migrants are learning Greek. You will not find Greek people learning Greek on these
We'll
classes.
have the teacher maybe, and maybe
Yes.
the teacher will bring guests into the classroom. I think I agree. It's definitely a very important step.
But at least it's already someone new, and this is the first step to start at least communicate with someone who is local, at least in the stores, at least in the cafes. And
What about staff? What about staff? I think this is one of the key points that is brought up. I mean, you have been here for 3 years. I'm sure you have been as well in certain discussions, certain situations where you know that there are certain Cypriots that they see not so positively the fact that some companies, they have zero Cypriot employee. In many countries, there are quotas, and many countries, any foreign company that comes has to have at least a certain percentage of local employees. Wouldn't you agree with me that this would be the perfect way to get everybody to connect and collaborate and, get to know each other, to have more and more gradually, more and more local employees?
I think in Cyprus it's not about the quotas, but still very similar concept, that you are allowed basically to hire people only with a, let's say, talented employees from abroad, but I know, accountants, lawyers, middle staff. You must hire them from the local market. So basically, every company here, if they need someone who is for the position that is for the local market, they hire it here. Okay. So for us, it was the same. I mean, now I can tell you about my company, because this is the most recent example. In Anymaster, we hired several times like salespeople who are locals, because they basically much better in this position, or customer support, or partner success manager. So these people, you just can't hire them actually from abroad, and you cannot expect the same result, because you need to communicate with the market, you need to communicate with locals. And yes, having these people in the office help a lot to, at least to start practicing language, to start exploring some mentality, I don't know, starting from jokes, then ending up in some deep questions. But at least you start to communicate. Yeah. Okay. And also this person can invite you somewhere that, I don't know, maybe now the summer to the wedding or maybe
exactly
to the
what
birthday.
I was going to ask you. Haven't you been invited to like 100 weddings and 100 christenings? Not yet?
No, not hundreds, not hundreds. I've been to a few. It was interesting experience because it differs a bit. Like locals, they really like to invite thousands of people.
Big weddings,
yeah.
big parties.
In Russia, they're much more limited. It's like much more limited number of people, and big wedding is usually only for, I don't know. I would say more rich families.
Okay.
So,
well, Cypriots, they are very rich when it comes to emotion
Yes.
and family and friends. They have a very, very rich network. I can tell you that. I think that the reason why I was asking this is because what you mentioned before regarding let's say the pace of work might not be the same as the one that you are used to, or you and your let's say your community. But one thing that I always tend to tell people that of course were not here before is that when I first came to Cyprus, Cypriots, they had the same sort of relaxed sort of attitude towards having a long lunch, a long dinner, a big wedding. But the majority of them back then, they had two jobs. And they were struggling to make ends meet because it was just after the invasion, so the 80s, the 90s. People really struggled to build what we see here today. I mean, this was not like this before. So the Cypriots that, really worked hard in order to be able to build what we see today, and also to attract foreigners, because this, I believe, that is one of the most successful, let's say, skill set that they have, is that through centuries, not just decades, centuries, they have managed to develop this sort of magic of attracting people from other countries and offer them, whatever they have. In this case is what? It's sun, beautiful weather, and very, very talented workforce, because the majority of the Cypriots, they were studying in universities, something that didn't happen with all the Greek islands. So all this put together brings us today to, again, the same sort of relaxed mindset. And I say, wow, I mean, even though they were stressed, even though they don't show, but they are stressed. But they managed to keep this sort of relaxed. And when you see them, sitting by the seafront, having a cafe, it's like, oh my God, these people, they really don't have any problems. And I think this is magic, isn't it? I cannot be like that. And I say, wow, don't you find this as an
no, it's a very good
added
combination.
Value,
this is a very good combination of how people can develop the island. I've been here from I think first time 7 years ago. It was totally different island, much less developed. And if you just see the pace of what happened in the last 7 years, it's like emerged, especially Limassol, Nicosia changed a lot. And just the skyline of the Limassol is like as if from different country. So basically, I would say yes, there was a huge work done, and we cannot neglect it. It was like really great job done, and I think that this strategy to invite international talents is also a very good strategy, especially for IT specialists, because there are always two ways, like either supply attract demand or demand attract supply. So they were leveraging like a cycle here, like back and in a loop. Yeah. And I think after these huge waves of relocations of IT talents, most of them, they actually came from quite big Kiev, Moscow, St. Petersburg, Minsk, like those. I mean, if we are talking about community from where I am, so these people are expecting quite a lot. They used to live in a very developed cities. It's not like as all countries we are like, not the whole Russia is like this. It's only Moscow and St. Petersburg. So, and when you come here, you expect, and if you don't see it, you're also trying to build it. And this is also a good thing that migrants can bring. They can also bring some new ideas, new technologies, new products, new services. So I think that this combination of Cypriots inviting, being welcoming, working hard to build the current infrastructure with the talented people who came here, visionaries, also a lot of people who came here, they also brought their visions, I think, for the development. So it's a good combination. You can see the result. It's not it's like quite obvious that Limassol especially changed so much in the past few years.
I believe Limassol, again, if I compare with other cities of Europe, Limassol has already quite a lot of elements to show the positive side of diversity, but I would say that the potential is so much bigger. Things that we can do from now onwards is huge, is gigantic. And I would like to just ask you at this point precisely to give us your example, because what you have done as a founder and CEO of a startup precisely shows what we have been saying, the fact that you come from outside, but because you see what is happening here, not with the eye of the person that is going to criticize or point out the negatives, but more with the eye, the perspective of someone that says, okay, what are the gaps? Let's look for solutions. Let's do it. And you have done it. So your marketplace, tell us a little bit about it, because I find it fascinating, the fact that straight away there with a small team, you start thinking of what can be useful for the small businesses in Limassol. Tell us exactly what it is.
It was exactly like this, basically by being here as an expat from the country which had a bit different solution for the services, faster and quite, like, let's say, easier way to find service providers. I definitely felt that this was lacking here in the market. And when you're local, you have connections, you know who to call to ask someone to call someone. And when you're expat, you don't have, again, these connections. So
we're talking about, sorry to interrupt you, so you're talking about all sorts of services that you need on your daily lives. Give us some examples.
Yeah, Anymaster is like a service marketplace. We started from the idea to connect people who are seeking for plumbers, handymen, cleaners, like sort of easy home maintenance repairs jobs with service providers. But lately it quite quickly emerged into something bigger, because when we already created, built apps which were very useful to people, they started to order services. One day we were just struggling to grow, because as any startup, you need to bring a lot of traffic from somewhere, and it should, knowing that service marketplace is half offline business, you cannot fake it. It's always real people making orders. So we were thinking how we can find where is this gap, and we partnered with the super home centers for all after sales services. So it's like bulky deliveries, assemblies, installations. So Anymaster, besides being a service marketplace where people can find independent contractors, we also started to provide this like similar software, as you know, like for example in Volt, you can find some restaurants, and in restaurants you see iPads and people are like collecting orders from them. So we started to provide Anymaster iPads or devices for the big stores, DIY stores like Super Home Center, with the software and service providers itself, contractors. So when you go there and you buy, let's say, a wardrobe or a shower cabin on something big that needs to be delivered, installed, assembled, you come to the customer service desk. And before us, it was usually around like 7-10 days to get it delivered, maybe installed. Maybe you could expect that someone will help you with this. And now it usually takes around maybe 2 days to
1-2 days only.
Yes.
Wow.
So, yeah, it's like enormous improvement of the speed. And so this order goes to the Anymaster, and all these orders are distributed between independent contractors. So they collect these products from the warehouses, they bring it to your home, they assemble it or install it. And then when the job is done, you basically, as a customer, you review the job. And this guy, the professional, he built his reputation on our platform. He gets more ratings, more reviews. So it facilitated the whole service marketplace, because now we have constant traffic from the stores. I mean, traffic of orders. More people are getting know us because, again, let's say
it's very useful and very needed as a service.
And then they can also see that through our platform they also can find plumbers or cleaners, and they come back as a recurring customers. And now we are growing through this, let's say, business model that we are working with all the big Cypriot DIY furniture stores, like, I don't know, like Mangas, also Bricolage, Leroy Merlin, and everywhere, and all like Super Home Centers all over the Cyprus. It's like 6 of them, I think. So all of these stores, they provide these orders to us, and all the customers, I think, from what I see from the reviews and the ratings, they became much more happy.
Very good. And it is in which languages do you have it?
In all 3 languages. Like from the very beginning, we knew that it's quite obvious that Cyprus is very mixed, and there is no only one language that would be sufficient. And
so it's
Greek, English, and Russian.
Because you have a big community of Russian here as well.
We almost focused first on the expats, so we needed to support English and Russian. They were our evangelist users, I would say. And now more and more we have Greek-speaking everyone, like clients, masters, partners.
As you mentioned before, I think it was a very interesting point you made there, is the fact that when you arrive from any nationality, obviously, but I mean now specifically the Russian community that is so big in Cyprus altogether, but specifically in Limassol, when you arrive here at the beginning and you don't know, who to call to fix to be a plumber or whatever, you lack that sort of network, you lack that sort of support, and you kind of became and replaced precisely this sort of space where people were feeling uncertain and not safe as well, and you brought your product to help them. What about the process itself, in terms, let's say, of technology? Is it something that required a big team, that it required you bringing know-how from abroad? How did it work? How easy was it for a founder to set up this as a startup?
I would say it's not an easy job as any business, especially in IT. You always need to work a lot to make anything, to build anything. But when we are talking about the IT product, it's always you need really talented people to join your team. And today the market is very competitive for the talent. For me, it was, I would say, a bit maybe easier than someone else in some way, to hire talented people from countries, Russian-speaking countries. And I think the core members of my team, they were extraordinary. I mean, they're still there. They are all senior levels, like leaders from their previous jobs, and they, because of all these political instabilities in our countries, they were quite happy to find a job with a relocation. So, like for the last 2 years, it was a bit easier to hire abroad. The same, not the same, like very great talents from Russia. And I would say that it also quite a fortune in some way. And before these all instabilities, it was much more difficult to hire talented people and to invite them to relocate somewhere. So there was a sort of a combination of the factors that helped a bit. So our team is not very big. We have a half team of the developer. In total, we are around 10. So we have half team of developers, designer, and another team is more in operations, customer support, social media marketing. So half tech, half not tech. Okay. And I think that to create a small version of the product, as you usually call it, MVP, minimal viable product, it's not very difficult, but to scale it, it's always a hassle. And you always need to just recently, I've heard this theory that basically you can think about the employees or people as, that a person can be 0.8, a person can be 1, and a person can be 1.2. So if you hire someone who is 0.8, it's just a person maybe who almost does his work okay. You just sometimes need to fix something or help to do something. 1 is something that a person always does what is expected, and 1.2 is something that you always get a bit more. So I believe that for startup, it's very important to find those people who are 1.2, who are really in the position to contribute, to build, to help you to grow. And this is the most difficult. Not even the profession, not even the number of skills or number of years of experience, is this desire to build, to grow something, and to be responsible for the things you do. So to make this, and actually, there are even some investors who invest specifically to the startups who were made by migrants, because there is a theory behind this that migrants are people who already took a risk to leave the home and they are willing to start from the scratch once again and once again. So they are not those who I don't remember this word, but they are the fighters, let's say.
Yeah. So plus they are the ones that are on sort of survival mode, yes, isn't it? I mean,
they never go back. Yeah. So
it's the matter that they had the courage to leave. They had enough daring in their mindset. They were explorers. They are also curious. And of course, if they are on survival mode, it's like, they're going to be really hardworking and committed. So there are many stories in many parts of the world where big ideas came out of migrants. But the biggest example of all is USA. It's a country made of migrants, and if we see today how the American economy has grown and has made themselves so well known, it's because it's all made of migrants, and you have there a bit of everything. You have people from England, you have people from St. Petersburg, you have people from Minsk, you have people from France, you have people from everywhere. So I 100% agree that migrants are a big boost wherever they
I would say that when you have a lot of migrants, especially talented people, one of the main challenge for the country who invite them is to give them all these possibilities. Because if you limit the possibilities, it's not what you will get. You will get a lot of sort of unemployed or not
non-productive sort of communities.
Yes, but I think what Cyprus is doing, they're moving to the right direction of providing all these possibilities, a bit of ease of coming, establishing things. So I think there is still a lot to improve. But even like this, from what I told from the very beginning, I think about 1 year ago, Tech Island helped to change the law for the spouses of the talented people to be able to work. This very, you would say, small change because locals, they don't see this problem, and when you see it from the perspective of the expat, it helps so much, not only for the social improvement that your spouse can go to work somewhere. It also brings financial stability to the whole family. So I think all these changes that also help migrants, expats to prosper in your country. It helps the country to prosper again. So
100%. I would say that for the last for the last six 7 years, I have been monitoring how the innovation ecosystem is being built, both in Lisbon and in 2 other cities, and also Limassol. And I remember that some of the people I have spoken with, interviewed 5 years ago, I was asking, in terms of how to build the ecosystem, what would be the major points and what would be, let's say, the areas that they feel Cyprus, in this case was Cyprus, needed to invest further. And even though legislation, it was a very, very strong point, and this is what you just mentioned now, we already saw results, and I am sure there is more in the pipeline. So more, let's say, laws and regulations will come out to facilitate these new talents to stay, invest, and remain in the workforce in Cyprus and contribute to the economy. But one of the key points that until today I speak with the same people and they are feeling that is not moving fast enough is mindset. Because the legislation, you voted in the parliament and then it's it can be used. What about in terms of mindset? Do you feel, and I'm going to ask you this as a woman in tech, do you feel that a local, so a Cypriot woman in tech, which obviously is going to be a young one most of the times, they just came from a university in the UK, university anywhere with a degree, do you feel that this new generation of tech skilled people from Cyprus, they are being also integrated properly and fast enough to contribute to this change of mindset? What are your experiences so far?
From what I see, I think that there is not still such a fashion, I would say, such a trend for youngsters, I don't know how to call them, like people from the school age. They're not yet very into tech, if we are speaking about especially like tech. And even if you ask people what they are looking to study in their universities, then usually in something more traditional and classic, like economics, laws, I don't know, arts. Sometimes actually a lot of people are interested in arts. And if you compare it to Russia or even like maybe Israel, a lot of people from the school age, they have these plans to study science. And I think that it's not about the university age. I think it goes a bit younger. So starting from the school years, it's not yet in a trend from what I see. I see that there are new schools and new trends coming now because, again, a lot of migrants came here, and I see that they have new trends, but from very little age. So I guess in 10 years there would be something more visible of the change. Because for the tech nowadays, tech is very difficult. I mean, I believe if you're a child nowadays and you, I don't know, for example, when I was a child, internet was something that you already were not sure how it works, but at least you saw some cables that you put to the wall, so it's somehow like transferring some data. But nowadays, when there is AI, there is like everything in the cloud. You even cannot touch it, you cannot see it. I guess it's a bit more difficult to grasp how everything is built, and this new generation, for them it looks much more difficult to make the first step. So I believe it should start much younger, not from the university age. So I don't see a lot of women in tech from the local community. I know a few, of course, because I interact a lot in different like meetups or conferences here, but I would say that it's not a trend yet. Yes, so it can be changed.
So this means that you would definitely be willing to participate in any sort of initiative that we might have in the future to inspire youngsters to go into STEM studies, yes? I'm inviting you already on one so that you won't be able to say no after.
To share whatever I can share with them.
Very good. No, I think it's the most important way and the easiest way to inspire a youngster to understand where are the options, which are the opportunities of the future, is to see and be able to speak with people that are already there, and especially in terms of women in tech, there is no point of having the minister coming to the schools and tell them, because that will not be inspiring at all. They have to see young people like yourselves that already did something, and then you can then answer questions that they might have, etc. I mean, I've seen this in many other countries, and here in Cyprus, I am sure that this is the best way, because mothers and fathers, they are amazing. I mean, I'm also a mother and a father, and I'm a mother, not a father, but I mean, I know the role of the mother and the father in these things, but it is important that the child has contact with other people that are already in other sectors that are not that common in their country. So I think we could stay here and talk about many different things in the tech world, but we are going to kind of summarize a little bit for now, and we can talk again another time. I would like you to give me, let's say, the most important points of your story that you would like to share with others that are here from a different country. What would you say are the most important points for them to take into consideration so that they can not just integrate and develop a good balanced life for them and for their families, but also to contribute to Limassol as their new home?
I would say maybe that what comes to my mind first, that for everyone who feel a bit isolated, I think that you should just believe to the fact that here you are much more free to meet new people, because all other people are seeking to meet you as well. It's not the same with when you are, I mean, at least from the same communities of the countries, I don't know. It's not the same if you're trying to find a friend from your home city. Usually people are there very socially engaged. Here they are quite free, and they would be happy if you invite them to go for a drink or to go for hiking or to play some football, I don't know, tennis, volleyball or something. So just go out and invite people, and usually they are really happy to be invited. So also I think that if you feel that something is lacking, it's not, you should not see it as a negative thing, but more as an opportunity. You're welcome to do it and try to improve this small thing. I don't know, for example, there are people who might think something about, let's say, cats on the streets. You can help cats if you want. You can do initiatives. You can contribute to this situation somehow more strategically. If you think that there is no enough small classes for children, just do a small class and invite other children. It's basically the lack of something is also an opportunity for you to do it as well. So you should not be upset about it. It's you see it from the different side. It brings a possible opportunities mainly. And maybe what else comes to my mind?
The language, you said that before.
Yes, of course. Yes, I think that the language is a key. Just start learning it, and you would see things differently.
Maybe you can already throw a couple of words in Greek. I know.
Yeah, I feel myself like, you know, in the childhood when my mother would say, like, tell us something in English, or tell us something in French, now in Greek. Yeah, I don't know. I can speak on A1 level. I wouldn't.
That's good enough to start.
Yes,
That's where we all start.
Okay, so I always can say Kalimera, Tikanis. You can respond even to me.
Yes, Mia χαρά, εγώ είμαι μια χαρά, εσύ, τι κάνεις?
Όλα καλά.
Well done. And I think that in everything you said there in Greek, there is one very important element that always helps. Smiling.
Yes.
Yes. I always tell this to everyone that comes from another country, even if you can't speak, because people, they are like kind of, thinking, what is she thinking or what is he thinking? But if you smile, the ice breaks straight away.
Yes.
So this is a very important thing that I also learned with the Cypriots, because we are not that smiling in Portugal, but I think it's contagious here. And also it's contagious the fact that people feel always very relaxed by the beach, as we were saying before, sitting in a cafe. We think they don't have issues, and we think they're not stressed. So I would like you to give us some spots that you would like to suggest others to go and feel relaxed. What would
I'm even a bit, how to say, jealous to share my places.
Okay, so nobody will go there.
No, but I think one of the most precious place for us, for my friends, for me, we have this how to say, daily routine. I run in the mornings a few days a week, and after the run we meet with my friends who also run in the Blue Cafe in front of the zoo. I mean, Blue Chairs Cafe.
Okay, good spot. So
yes,
I'm going to ask you to put a pin there.
It's somewhere here in front of the entrance of the zoo, I guess.
Right. Good spot.
And we feel ourselves very local because besides us, there are only local old men and women chatting in the sea and then drinking coffee. So we feel ourselves very...
You get contagiated
yes.
by all that relaxation. Yes. What about, do you have any other place that you'd like to suggest?
I would say that actually maybe about 6 years ago when I came to Cyprus, it's quite, how to say, it touched my soul that I went to a sunset area somewhere like behind Pissouri.
Okay.
And I did a photo and it was very beautiful sunset. Like, this sun touches the sea with a very red, yellow, sun grade, or like
powerful
great,
colors,
yes. And when I came back to St. Petersburg, once we were drawing with my friends with painting, like we were drawing paintings, and I drew exactly this from the photo, and I think it's sort of manifesting to come here.
It was the connection was made there.
Yeah, maybe because basically, like how it works when you put a lot of attention there, then it happens. And I even think that this painting is somewhere yet in St. Petersburg, but I still remember the day, and I still remember the paintings, and I think that this was something there behind Pisuri. I don't know if I can put it.
It's a very beautiful, wild, white stone, isn't it? The rocks, they are very, very
let's put it here.
Beautiful and definitely unique. Though all that area there, I feel it gives us that sort of vibes that you have somehow in your brain since you studied Greek history at some point when you were 10-year-old or something. I don't know. That's the sort of vibes that I get. It's very special.
Yeah, I think sunsets in this area is something that not only a tourist attraction, but even for after many years of living here, you're happy to go there and just to sit there in the quiet evening, see the sunset, and maybe make 1 million photos, all the same, but just to relax.
Yeah.
And
I feel that there is this sort of. Well, it's a big slogan that has been used again and again by a lot of businesses to promote mainly real estate, which is location, 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 and everything is around that. Personally, after what I hear from you and what I hear from all the guests here in this podcast, is that Cyprus is definitely people, people, people. And everything is surrounded around that, because I feel that what you have done to help other small businesses and the way you connect with other people and the way you fall in love with Limassol as well, it has to do definitely with the people that we find on this island. Yes. Less or more skilled for tech, but nevertheless very special, because that's the idea is to so that you can get a 1.2 plus a 0.8. It's a grade 2.
Yes, you're right.
All right. So I would like to say a big thank you.
Thank you for inviting me. It was a very great pleasure to speak and to share my thoughts. And I hope Limassol and Cyprus overall will prosper. And all these new people coming here will be the help of the great growth, and everyone will benefit from it. Not neglecting anyone and not leaving anyone behind, but to actually care about locals, about migrants, about women, about children as well. So I actually believe that the more people are cautious, like how to say, conscious, conscious. The better is for the country. So all these podcasts and people who are sharing their thoughts and sharing their experience is very valuable. So thank you very much for bringing these people to share and to help.
It's a big pleasure.
Yes.
Thank you very much for being here, because as we said before, diversity has faces, and diversity is all about stories of people that come for different reasons, but at the end of the day they all want at some point find a way to contribute. And we are very happy in this podcast to promote all those cases of people that they have already started, some of them decades ago, contributing, and others that are just arriving now. But again, their purpose is to make together, to build together a better Limassol. Thank you very much for being with us, and we will be back next week with another face of the positive impact of diversity in Limassol. Thank you.
Thank you.
This is the El Air Uncut.